Hi everyone, and welcome to my week 1 reflection for the Peaceful Warrior immersion. Right now I'm just going to talk about my general thoughts of the main activities that we did over the course of the week. So, one of the main reasons I joined Peaceful Warrior was to learn how to meditate, since I often get really stressed and clearing out my head would be an effective way to fix this problem. So we started out by listening to a recording of Reggie Ray, which I thought was very calming since it was a dark room and there was just like one voice talking clearly. That was it. Then the next day, we did a 5 minute sit in which we tried to not move at all for 5 minutes. So that one was really hard since I had to try to ignore all of the physical discomfort like pain, itchiness, and coldness. But then the next day, when we did a 10-minute sit, which it just seemed to go by much faster than the 5 minute sit did, which surprised me. I did not expect to see results this quickly, and I expected it to take almost like 2 or 3 weeks to get to the point that I'm at now, since I was not expecting to be able to effectively to sit for 10 minutes without moving at all. But so that was really cool to see that I could do that. Okay, the next part is yoga. So for me, yoga has been the toughest thing that we've done so far, just because I'm not like physically as strong as some other people. So just one thing that I noticed is that at the beginning of the week, it was actually really, really hard just to even do the warm up. But now, since we've been practicing the warm up a lot, I can do it much easier than at the beginning of the week. So hopefully the stuff that's hard for me now will, by the end of immersion, or even just by the end of next week, also be as easy as the warm-up is, and hopefully the warm-up continues to get easier. Another thing was, at the beginning of the week, I was sort of scared that if I went into child's pose to take a break from positions that I thought were too strenuous, that people would judge me. But after a week of like training on the earth element, I felt much more comfortable just going into child's pose and taking a break if I thought that I needed that break. So that was nice. Okay, in addition to yoga and meditation, we also spent a lot of time watching the movie Peaceful Warrior. So for me, probably the coolest part of the Peaceful Warrior movie was that a lot of the themes in it were reflected later in other activities we did. Like, for example, when Dan goes to Socrates' house and is eating his fruit dish, Socrates says that if you ate slower, you might taste something. And like later when we were listening to a recording of Reggie Ray talking about like why meditation is important, he compared the way society processes information to force-fed goose. So just like that parallel was really cool for me. Also, Mr. Squires decoding movies by pausing them was something that was really helpful for understanding some of the concepts, since that's just not something I normally do. Okay, so for me, the most fun part of immersion was archery. Um, it just felt a lot more personal as an activity than like some of the other stuff, since we had to like string the bows by ourselves. We picked out the bows by ourselves, and we even had to like put the tips on the arrows by ourselves. So that was cool. Also, it was nice to see there was visible improvement, at least for me, in just like the 2 days that we spent practicing, since I went from missing every single shot to like I can now probably hit about half of them, so that's cool. And I felt like the experience was much more enjoyable since everyone was being helpful and supportive instead of like super competitive. And yeah, if I had brought like my normal like competitive attitude towards archery, it probably would have been much less enjoyable, since I probably would have just given up eventually after not hitting several shots in a row. Okay, for me, probably the second most fun part of the week was going to the dojo to learn about the martial art of Toshindo. So this week we've been focusing on earth, as I said earlier. So, earth, the element of earth can be most simply described by its positive and negative aspects. So someone who represents positive earth is someone who is like confident and commanding, while someone who represents negative earth is someone who would be like self-centered or self-satisfied. So my experience at the dojo was something very different from anything else I've ever done, since I've never done martial arts before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, I was expecting maybe the instructors would be much more overbearing and scary, but they were actually, like, much more welcoming, I guess. So that was not something that I had expected. Also, I thought that Mr. Hayes would be much, like, more intimidating than he actually was, but he seemed really cool and wise. So like everything that he suggested had like immediate positive results, which is super cool. Like when he said to try breathing out to get more air flowing in, I would never have thought about that. That's just like, it was super cool to have him there, and it's sort of sad that he's leaving already, but oh well. Okay, so just some general thoughts. If I had to describe the word in one word, it would be new, since like we got new shoes, like the tabby shoes. We also got the fisherman pants. Like everything we've done has just been completely different than what I expected. So that's been really cool. So I signed up for Peaceful Warriors so I could try to get a better understanding of myself and my body, and so far I think this immersion has been super effective in that regard, since like yoga has taught me I can do a lot of stuff that I would have never thought I could possibly do. So that's just really cool. Okay, bye.